I guided my Honda Civic into the guest parking area of Azure Crest Resort, where my mother's Mercedes and my sister's BMW sparkled under the afternoon sun. Glass walls reflected the lake, cedar beams pierced the sky, and stone paths led to the entrance. This was the setting I had chosen for our family reunion. "There she is," Bianca's voice chimed, sweetly teasing. "We wondered if you'd come." I lifted my overnight bag from the trunk, keeping my expression neutral. "Traffic leaving the city? You came from the warehouse district?" Mom asked, a trace of skepticism in her tone. Evelyn's smile peeked from behind sunglasses that could easily pay rent for a year. "Surprised you could afford the gas, Nadia," she said lightly. "I managed," I replied with a small, measured smile. "Barely." Bianca leaned in, playful but pointed. "We're already checked into the premier suites. I'm sure they'll have a standard room in the back for you." The valet accepted my keys, glancing over the Civic with a subtle lift of an eyebrow. "Separate checks," Mom added. "This weekend celebrate success." Inside, the lobby soared just as the renderings had promised years ago. Stone floors, glass walls spilling light from the lake, and a hearth that seemed to anchor the vast space. At check-in, a young attendant named Jessica greeted us. Mom slid a black AMX across the counter. "2 premier suites," she said, "for Evelyn and Bianca." Jessica's fingers hovered above the keyboard. "And Miss Nadia Reyes," Bianca interjected. "Whatever standard room she can manage. Separate billing." Jessica's smile tightened. "Actually, Miss Nadia Reyes is the primary account holder for all 3 premier suites. There's also a note regarding special privileges." Bianca laughed nervously. "Honey, that's probably a glitch." Before Jessica could respond, a distinguished man approached, eyes scanning the screen, then fixing on me. "Miss Reyes, we weren't expecting you until evening. Have plans changed?" I nodded subtly. "Yes, a bit." He turned back to Jessica. "Executive access level 10. Bianca's eyes widened. "Executive what?" Mr. Harrison inclined his head toward me. "Would you like my office?" "No, this is fine," I said, feeling the heat rise, not from embarrassment, but from the quiet assertion that they could not underestimate me. He cleared his throat. "Mrs. Reyes, there's no mistake. Miss Reyes is authorized for all charges. Level 10 is reserved because Azure Crest is her flagship." Silence rippled. Bianca's curiosity broke first. "Flagship of what exactly?" "Reyes Hospitality Group," he replied. "Miss Reyes acquired this land 7 years ago and managed its development from start to finish. We opened 2 years ago." Mom's mouth barely moved. "Nadia, what have you done?" "Exactly what I said I would." I replied simply. "Built something." The lobby fountain filled the pause with gentle murmurs of water. Then my team arrived. Thomas, CFO. Sarah, Marketing. Robert, Operations. "Boss," Thomas greeted, grinning. "Contractors ready for the lakeside deck. Numbers look solid." Mr. Harrison softened. "Shall we assign your family to the Lakeview premieres?" "Please," I said. "Comp everything." I turned to Mom and Bianca. As my guests, Jessica handed them their key folders. "Welcome." In the elevator, our reflections shimmered across the chrome walls. Same eyes, different stories. In Mom's suite, lake light poured in like molten silver. Fresh flowers, champagne, and the brochures I had once written years ago hung invisibly in the air. "You designed this?" Mom asked, voice tentative. "Every detail," I replied, and I still tour warehouses. Luxury begins behind the scenes. Bianca sank onto the sofa. "We joked about your clothes," she murmured. "You were cruel," I said lightly. I was certain I was right. "That's both different and the same," she said. We toured Bianca's suite next. Her stage furnishings reflected subtle choices I had borrowed from her own open houses. She blinked. "You always listen." Robert pinged me about the 4 p.m. meeting. Dinner was at 7. Mom raised an eyebrow. Nodding, "We'll be there." The lakeside room glowed like candlelight on water. My team arranged the table. Thomas, Sarah's warm smile, Robert's maps, all in place. Mom and Bianca perched stiffly at the far end. A bright amuse-bouche arrived, the greens carefully sourced by me. Luxury starts backstage, I whispered to Bianca, nodding at the stamp crates by the service entrance. Linens, walk-ins, loading docks. If it's sloppy back here, it leaks everywhere. Thomas raised his glass to me. Fair and relentless, he toasted. Laughter loosened the room, and stories flowed. The winter I hauled saltwood maintenance at dawn. The month I shadowed housekeeping. The night the generator failed, handwritten contingency checklists. Mom's gaze softened as she watched. Pride and regret danced across her features. Finally, she spoke. I owe you an apology. I wanted you to want what I wanted. When you didn't, I assumed failure. That was my fault. Bianca added, I like being the good daughter. I took you for granted. I'm sorry. I hear you, I said, but you must also learn to ask before assuming, listen before advising. Mom nodded. We can if you let us try. Then try, I said. After dessert, guests drifted away. I walked them to the terrace. The lake lay black and still. Stars snagged on its surface. Photo shoot at 7, I said, if you want to see what I really do. We'll be there, Bianca promised, and I can help with staging. Morning arrived crisp, clear, and bright. We paced the ground with a photographer, adjusting angles, smoothing bedspreads. Mom observed, intent. When we finished, she took my hand. Daughter, she said softly, leader, builder, I see you. And for the first time, I believed her.